Here now is Gregg Jarrett, Fox News anchor, former defense attorney. I mean, there's so many different issues here. Let me start with the general lawlessness and violence that's going on in Chicago.
Right.
Could President Trump send in federal troops? And what does that mean?
You know, in the late 1800s, Congress passed the Posse Comitatus Act, which people love to cite to say.
You are showing off now.
I know. And a lot of people say you can't send in federal troops for local law enforcement. There are so many exceptions to that. Notably, Eisenhower in 1957 sent in federal troops to restore law and order in a civil rights unrest. Kennedy, Johnson, they've all done it. And that act, by the way, doesn't stop a president from sending in the Army National Guard.
Right. That's what this situation feels like.
It does feel like that. The better course of action would be to simply federalize the Illinois National Guard. So all of that can be done. Now, is the president going to do that? Well, he could. Look, parts Southside Chicago, gang activity, guns, people dying every day. It seems like a war zone, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you look at the stats, so 762 homicides in 2016. Already this year, they are on pace to outdo that. And it has that feeling like there is just a lawlessness where order needs to be restored. Now, the Chicago Police Department say they are willing to work with federal government, of course. We have a statement from the police superintendent. They're more than willing to work with the federal government to build our partnership, DOJ, FBI, DEA, ATF, boost federal prosecution rates for gun crimes in Chicago. I mean, I can't tell, is that a shot at gun laws, or is that a, we'll take your money?
I think what President Trump could and should do is fire the U.S. Attorney for the Northern District, an Obama appointee who hasn't brought enough gun and racketeering prosecutions against gang members. A few of them, not enough. Bring in a guy, and look, these gangs are criminal enterprises. Their sole purpose is to commit crimes. They do it in concert with each other. It's a conspiracy. Throw the book at them. Start charging these gangs with RICO violations. Then they're looking at 10, 15, 20 years behind bars. If they're serious violent crimes, you know, lock them up and throw away the key. That can be done.
We've seen this problem other times in the past, and it's been cleared up. One of the things that Trump points to is stop and frisk.
Right.
Is that legal?
Well, the merits of the New York version of stop and frisk were never fully litigated. It was thrown out by a district judge, but she was kicked out because of bias and some other things. So, look, Chicago actually did have a version of that stop and frisk. The ACLU stepped in and said, oh, it's terrible. We're going to sue you if you don't stop it. Chicago capitulated, signed an agreement not to do it. You know what? Maybe it's time to tear up that agreement. And if the ACLU wants to litigate it, go right ahead, file a lawsuit. It's going to take you years to do it. In the meantime, an aggressive version of stop and frisk could get a lot of guns and criminals off the streets.
Gregg Jarrett, thank you. Always brilliant. We appreciate it.